Hello folks, welcome to another video and thank you for joining me. I haven't made a video for a little while. Today is to do a bit of an update on where I am with my cars and what's going on. Some of you may know that I've got an electric Mini, the Mini Cooper SE, and I've also got this car that we're using today, which is our Mini Cooper Cabriolet, a Cooper S supercharged 2005 model. A great car for a day like today, and obviously if you're from England and you know that we don't get too many beautiful hot sunny days like this, so try to enjoy them when we can. I've also recently, well, I say recently, over the last few months, I bought that Mini Clubman Cooper S, which was a bit of an old oil burner, which I've restored and converted into a Mini Mayfair edition. Now, I've been struggling a little bit, to be honest with you, with my EV. When I got the car in December 2021, I was paying 13 pence per kilowatt hour for my electricity at home, and I could charge an Instavolt for 45p, and our local Tesco's gave a free charge if you wanted to do an AC destination charge, you know, a 7 kilowatt charge or even a 22 kilowatt charge back in the day. But over the last year, obviously things have changed quite a bit. The electricity prices have gone up. My home electric is now 33p compared to 13p, and I believe Instavolt is now 65p, and Tesco's no longer offer a free charge. In fact, they charge, I think it's 55p now. So the proposition when I bought the car was, obviously I was keen and interested in the new technology of an EV. I was on board, if you like, with the NetZero revolution. You know, who wouldn't want to improve the environment, and especially when it comes to, you know, toxic gases in traffic and that kind of thing. You know, the EV made a noticeable difference. On one occasion I was in a drive-through at a McDonald's, and I was behind a petrol car which was blowing out obnoxious fumes, and behind me was a diesel truck which was banging and clattering, and at that point I realised just how serene and beautiful the EV was. And with it being a Mini, it's a fantastic car to drive. I really do enjoy the driving experience. It's not like the supercharged Mini Cabriolet that we've got, and it's not like the turbocharged Mini Clubman that we've got, which are both noisy and quite exhilarating cars to drive. It's like the silent assassin, if you like. It hardly makes a noise, and when you do press the accelerator, it just goes much quicker than the other two ICE propelled cars. So it's been a great car to be driving around in. But apart from my sudden change in economic forecasts, i.e. it's costing an awful lot more to charge than I expected, the other issue that's been haunting me is the disabled access. I'm a disabled driver, and I do struggle to charge the car. Very few places are accessible to anybody in a wheelchair or on crutches for that matter, and you know, it's been quite difficult for me to enjoy the experience. It's been fine if you just want to pop up to say Scunthorpe and back, you know, maybe 35-40 mile journey, not a problem. Unfortunately, I don't have a wall charger at home, and I know a lot of the EV evangelists are going to say, oh well, you know, you should have bought a car with a longer range, and you should have had a wall charger, and you know, you should have solar power, and then everything will be fine. Absolutely right, it would be. You know, if I could have a wall charger, things would be much better, but I can't. If I did have solar power, then obviously things would be an awful lot more economical, but I can't. And if I could afford to buy a car that I like, you know, something as exciting and well built as the Mini, that had an extended range, then obviously that would be good too. But there isn't. I don't particularly want an MG, to be honest with you. That's not my taste. So, if I could afford a Tesla, I would love to have a Tesla, but I can't afford a Tesla. So that side of the EV driving experience has kind of got a little bit disappointing. I'm hesitant to take the car anywhere further than 15-20 miles away on a round trip, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to charge it on my own. Otherwise I've got to take my wife with me everywhere and going to have to rely on her to do the charging. Add to that, if we do a long trip, sometimes we've gone down to Birmingham, for example, then we've got to plan in at least 2 charges. So that's going to be an additional 2 hours on the journey, assuming that everything is available and working, which very often it isn't. So I've got to summarise by saying, love the car, love the idea, but in my personal experience, in my specific circumstances, it's not working out very well. It's sitting here and we're beginning to leave it behind. Recently we went down to Berkshire for a couple of weeks. We were staying in Lambourne, which is quite a distance from where we live, and it's quite remote in the countryside, and there was no way I could take the electric car, so we took our Mini Cooper S Clubman. Now when we fill it up, that car gives us a range of about 430 miles, and that's putting in the ultra petrol, or the Shell V-Power E5 so-called quality petrol. I worked it out at the prices at the time, and I'll put the figures in the screen. We were getting about 18 pence per mile cost. Now with the Mini electric, if I was charging that up at an Osprey, for example, at 69p, or an Instavolt at 65p, and in some cases I've even been charged 80 something p, when I've been in a hotel charger or something like that. The prices were pretty similar, not much to choose between them. The difference was I was so much more relaxed in the petrol car, knowing that I didn't have to think about planning my trip before I left. All I've got to do is just fill it up with petrol, and then I know I'm going to be fine for at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, without having to think about where next. Another episode which comes to mind was a little while ago. I got a phone call quite late at night. It was my daughter, and she was panicking and she was crying, and something terrible had happened. One of the children had had an accident, and she needed to go to the hospital, take the child to the hospital, and she asked me, could I please come over straight away? Well, the Mini was plugged in on the 3-pin charger with about 10% charge, so there was no way I could go over there with the electric Mini. Now at the time, this was before I got the Mini Clubman Cooper S petrol turbo car, and this is part of the reason why I got that car, because I had to tell her, I'm sorry darling, but I can't come because the car's not fully charged, and it's 40 miles to get to your house. I'm not going to get there in time. Now if we'd had a petrol car, it doesn't matter whether it was empty or not. I've got a petrol station 4 miles from my house. I could have filled it up in two minutes flat, and we could have been there pretty quickly. So there was another example of where the electric car didn't stand up to the test, whereas a petrol car would. So here I am, contemplating what to do. I've still got 18 months to go on my lease for my electric Mini. The Mini Clubman, I've spent a few £1,000s to restore it into really good condition, good running, reliable little car. So I don't know what to do. Should I get rid of the electric Mini and just save money and rely on the Clubman? The Clubman, by the way, has done 162,000 miles, and it's been well looked after. It's been serviced, and I could tell when I bought it there was no history. I only had the word from the previous owner that had owned it for a couple of years as to what they'd done with it, and I noticed that it had Michelin tyres on it, for example, which are 3 times more expensive than the potential cheapest budget tyres somebody could have put on. So I kind of imagined that it had been looked after. he told me that a lot of the miles were motorway miles. I got my neighbour Terry to have a good look over it with me, and there were definitely oil leaks, and it looked like the manifold and the turbo were going to need work. So I had planned that in. I had forecast extra cost to do that. So I put on a new turbo and a new manifold and oil filter and various other bits. I'll put a list in the description. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think I should do? Because I'm really not enjoying the experience of being an EV driver. I think that the whole public infrastructure is just ill-conceived, badly executed, and inadequate in just about every way. And that doesn't mean every charger. I think Osprey are doing a good job. I think GridServe are doing a good job. Certain charge places that I've been, like in York, Monk's Cross was very good. There are a number of companies and organisations that understand the issue of access, and they're trying to do a better job. But the overwhelming legacy of what's already out there is not good, and we've still got lots of companies that aren't really fully invested or involved in wanting to provide accessible charging. So almost in protest, I'm thinking I'm going to give up the EV. I'm just I'm at my wit's end, if you like, in trying to explain to these people, why don't you cater for everybody? Why do you have to exclude disabled people? And the excuses that you come out with are just so predictable and obvious. So anyway, that's my rant over. I'm going to give it some thought before I make any decisions, and let's see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope I didn't bore you too much with my woes and my problems, but if you've got a comment, let me hear what you've got to say, and I'll answer you for sure. And if you are interested in my videos, then please do subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, give me a like and share, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.